Well, MPs could be on recess again by the end of today, but before then they're going to vote on whether to hold a snap general election as a law forcing Boris Johnson to try to avoid a no-deal Brexit comes into force. Joining me are the Labour MP Anna McMorrin and the Conservative MP Henry Smith. Welcome to you both. Mr Smith, why do we need a general election?
Well, we have an impasse in Parliament. Parliament can't decide a way forward. It is refusing to honour the referendum result of the British people over 3 years ago now. And therefore, really, we need a general election for people of the UK to say how they want to go forward. And I think a general election, which, of course, Labour have been calling for over a year now, is something that should be supported so that we put it back to the British people.
I mean, Labour have said they want a general election, but you're all set to vote against it today.
Yes, of course, because what we've got is a Prime Minister in Johnson acting irresponsibly, recklessly, with impunity, taking us to a reckless no-deal. Now, that is totally not what I am standing for and representing my constituents in the best interests of businesses, people, families across the country.
But how does the general election fit into delivering a no-deal?
Well, look, Johnson wants us to crash out with no deal. That's what the rhetoric we're seeing, gearing up. We had Amber Rudd talking at the weekend about how there are absolutely no discussions taking place at cabinet level or anywhere else on negotiating any sort of deal. This is reckless game playing with the lives of the people that I represent. Wholly irresponsible.
So is this just a ploy to leave without a deal?
No, because if the House of Commons votes to support a general election this evening, in accordance with the motion that the government have put down, then the people of this country will get a chance to elect who they want to be their MPs and their government before October the 31st. And then it will be up to that government, newly elected by the British people, to be able to negotiate with the European Union. Negotiations have been ongoing, but it was quite clear.
Where's the proposals? Where are the proposals?
It was quite clear that we were elected on a promise to leave the European Union, deal or no deal. Now, a deal is better, but if that isn't possible, then the people of this country made a clear decision and let the people of this country decide in a general election.
We didn't vote.
Yeah, but if there was a general election, as the government would like, on October the 15th, there would still be a fortnight to decide our position, and wouldn't it be, maybe it would be a Labour government which would want an extension to renegotiate and hold a referendum. Maybe it'd be a Conservative government that wanted to believe. But wouldn't that be clearer? Because that would, at long last, align Parliament with the referendum.
But would it? We can't trust a word that Johnson and his unelected advisor Cummings is saying.
Trust the people.
He is irresponsible and reckless. Now, why would we want just 2 weeks before we're set to crash out and taking us into this with food shortages, medicine shortages, and really putting the lives of people and families' livelihoods at risk? I don't believe that anyone voted 3.5 years ago for no deal. I know that nobody in my constituency voted for no deal.
But it's what really worries you, that if we had an election, Boris Johnson might win it and go ahead, with a mandate for no deal.
Absolutely not. We've always said, absolutely, we want to have an election. But an election in these circumstances where we're set to crash out with no deal is the most irresponsible, reckless decision and game playing. It's politicking. And what we want is some serious people to stand up. And I think that's what people out there are wanting. They're not wanting Parliament shut down, which is what he's doing, with his reckless game playing now. And that is irresponsible.
I mean, it is true that the immediate issue for the public is sorting out Brexit rather than having another vote, isn't it?
Well, I think people want this done. I've just come back from my constituency over Friday and the weekend, where everyone I spoke to was saying, just get on with it. We gave you an instruction over 3 years ago. Now you need to get on with it. People are fed up with Parliament. It is quite a dangerous situation where it is Parliament against the people, and therefore let the people decide what the way forward is. I don't know what Labour is scared of. They're obviously scared of the British people making a determination as to the way forward. I think that's a great shame and just bizarre, given Labour spent over a year calling for a general election until they think
so in the biggest
it might not be in their
decision
advantage.
Facing us in a generation.
Let the people decide that.
Johnson is politicking.
No, it's not about Boris Johnson deciding.
This is reckless
it's about the British
and irresponsible.
people deciding.
Why do I want my constituents, businesses,
let your
businesses that are
constituents
risking?
vote.
And if you think
Let your
that this is going to
constituents
decide it one way or the other by crashing out, this just leaves
this
us
is about a general election
discussing
with
Brexit
2 weeks to go before October the 31st.
Months and months, if not years to come. It's not going to go away. And we need to get on with what the real issues are. We need to be discussing and deciding on. And do you know, no policy has got through Cabinet, has been discussed in Cabinet.
And I agree. We need to move on from Brexit so that we can get on to the domestic
the argument
police officers
is
and the
that there's a logjam in Westminster that this Parliament simply can't agree on what to do. So
in a general election.
Referendum.
But, I mean, the argument is it's the job of MPs to sort these things out. So if this Parliament can't sort it out one way or the other, why don't we see if another Parliament can sort it out one way or another?
Well, absolutely. We have a general election, but not at such a critical time
where
my constituency's livelihoods, the families, their jobs are at risk. Now, what I'm saying is that we need to put this back to the people, absolutely. But what are you scared of in terms of putting it back to the people in a referendum
I think we should put it back
final say?
I think we should put it back to the people as soon as possible.
So let's have a second referendum.
Well, a second referendum,
and make sure that
the legislation
it's what
would
the
take a
people
long time
wanted.
to achieve that.
Because those Leavers I speak to, who voted Leave in my constituency 3 years ago, now want to remain.
But what's your reading? I mean,
that's not my experience of my constituents.
The position of the party, the Conservative Party, is now basically devoting a lot more energy to leaving without a deal than actually seeking an agreement? I mean, that's certainly what Amber Rudd thought.
But Boris Johnson has recently come back from the G7, where he was talking with the EU leaders and others about a deal. Angela Merkel was saying to Donald Tusk that we really need to make sure that the British have a deal that they can move forward and leave on. And I believe that a deal is possible.
Well, we've got a cabinet minister now, Amber Rudd, saying he just isn't really interested in getting a deal.
Well, I think Amber Rudd has always been somebody who supported Remain, was never a fan of the decision of the British people for Brexit. I don't think her comments are surprising. What was surprising is that she accepted a cabinet role 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, it's her comments, but I mean, it's also her reporting, if you like. But I mean, how do you feel about no deal at the end of October for your constituents?
Well, I have Gatwick Airport in my constituency, and just one example, it isn't no deal. We would leave on a series of already agreed deals. And, for example, in terms of aviation, all of those deals are in place.
It's not an agreement, is it? It's a unilateral policy put in place by the EU, temporary until March. Right?
Well, I think
it's not. We haven't actually negotiated at all with them. This is just simply what the Europeans have said they're going to do.
Well, there are a series of agreements, aviation one, that is already done. There's a series of agreements that are in place. And I think a lot of the rhetoric of Project Fear, we were told there'd be an immediate recession and a run on the pound the day after the referendum results if we voted to leave. The economy is growing and unemployment is at a record low.
Legislation isn't getting through Parliament at the moment.
So let's have a general election, have a new Parliament so that we can get on with the business of running the country.
Here, thinking he is above
he wants to hand it to the British people in a general election.
He thinks he is above the law.
He doesn't think he's above the law.
Why is that something that we should proceed with?
So hand it over to the British people to decide in a general election.
Let us get rid of the risk of no deal.
Tonight,
and then
please,
by
Anna,
all
vote
means,
for a general election, and then the British people, your constituents and my constituents, can make a determination on this.
Are asking me to stop no deal, stop this coup, protect democracy.
Right. OK, we're going to get a lot more of this, I think, in the House of Commons later on today.
We are.
Thank you both very much indeed. This